How's it going, everybody? This is Trifecta Sports Talk. Talking about fantasy football. This is our fantasy football show. Alongside me today is Evan, who's in the house. Evan, how's it going, sir?
All right, it's going.
And then we have Justin Doyle coming from the room with the halo above his head. Justin, how are you today?
I'm pretty good. That's just a light.
The halo is not too bad today. Not too bad. So we're going to talk fantasy football. We have a fantasy football league for Trifecta. Most of our writers are in it. Some other friends too, but it was an exciting week, not just in that, but in the NFL. Sergio Dip of ESPN, and Justin actually has not listened to this, which is incredible to me that he hasn't.
I know it was absolute electric.
I mean,
showing by Sergio Dip last night on Monday Night Football from Mile High.
Oh, I was asleep.
Became an internet sensation.
He did, and
pretty much.
I'm gonna bring us to do a screen share here, so we can actually show everybody. And I'm sure everybody has seen this except Justin. No offense,
I was
Justin.
asleep. I go to bed at 10 o'clock.
All right, I'm gonna play this.
It's a pleasure to be with you guys here on the field from up close, just watching Coach Vance Joseph. From here, you watch him now on the screen. This diversity in his background is helping him a lot tonight. Quarterback at Colorado, defensive back in the NFL, and here he is having the time of his life.
And honestly, though,
the reporter from Family Guy. It's raining.
He does. He's an ESPN Deportes guy.
Yeah, so obviously English isn't his first.
No,
language.
it's his second language, right?
And you could tell.
Oh, that's.
But I think he speaks English fine. Actually, I think it had nothing to do with this. I don't think him. I think it was just him in the big moment, just kind of pooping his pants a little bit.
It really was. His diversity looks like great on this with having being the defensive back coach at playing in the NFL.
He went viral, absolutely viral, and to the point where he's now an internet celebrity. He's like Ken Bone 2.0. Essentially, he is blown. He has blown up.
Yeah, he's pretty much just Ken Bone 2.0.
He's
really can put it like that. I want to know. I don't know. I don't know what his followers on Twitter was before that, but right now I think it's at 113,000 for an ESPN Deportes. There it is. For an ESPN Deportes,
so
Southern reporter.
So
133,000 right now.
So you created some controversy this morning. You posted a video at 6 a.m. from his room, his hotel room. And this is kind of something that's kind of kicked up some dust a little bit. And we'll play that for you here as well. You go to the window here. And this one's kind of interesting as well in terms of what he talked about.
A couple of hours now trying to digest what just happened to a 29-year-old Mexican guy like me. It's 9/11. I'm in Denver, Colorado, and this is the NFL. A Monday night football game between the Broncos and the Chargers. The biggest stage possible. I was studying my elementary school.
Dude. My God.
September 11, 2001, in Calexico, California. Born in Mexicali, Baja California, Mexico. But growing up in the American environment as a minority. A minority like head coaches Vance Joseph and Anthony. So what I wanted to do was to show some respect, making my debut as a minority on American national TV.
What is he talking about?
All right, so we're gonna bring this back here, and the reason why we're talking about this, the reason why we're talking about Sergio Dip, is because everybody is talking about this. I don't know why he brought up 9/11 in that conversation. I don't think it had to do with anything to do with him being Latino. He was playing. He actually tweeted during the game, and it seemed like he was in on the joke, and You know, he just
That would have been the way to go.
He was
That would have been the way to go.
he was a reporter that pooped his pants. It happens. We all get it. We get it sometimes. I get it sometimes.
It's not easy to do.
Being on camera in front of people, and he was on, like you said, he was on a big stage. Was it the biggest stage, like he was saying on his video? Probably not. I wouldn't say it was the biggest stage, important game at all. But the fact is, you know, ESPN then went away from him. People were watching that game to see Sergio Dip come out again, and guess what? They didn't. They iced him. Never brought him back out.
You got to bring him up at least once.
And that's probably why he posted the videos, because he was like, "Ooh, like I got to post this."
Yeah, you got to bring him out again. It was. I mean, it was. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't watching the game up until then, and then I saw it on Twitter. And I'm like, "Oh God, I have to go back and watch it." And I watched the third quarter and then the first play of the fourth quarter. But I wanted to see that. I wanted to see him again, and it never came on.
Look, he pooped his pants. I'm gonna say it over and over again. That's what happened. He just got a little stage fright, and that's fine. That happens. Had nothing to do with him being Latino. I think he's actually going to do this again. He'll be fine at doing it. But, you know, the issue with it is that it is hilarious.
I mean, either way you want to look at it, I mean, he's more of a soccer reporter.
And what was up with the Twitter video? Where he was like stage drama. He made these pauses and he tried to make it really over dramatic, and he was clearly reading off of some kind of screen card or something.
I'm pretty sure he had it down in a notebook. If you look at it, look in the video, he keeps looking down. And you're
or on his phone or something.
I think it was a notebook, dude. I don't think it was.
It doesn't make any sense.
And then the way he tried to dramatize it, and dude, stop. That was what's bad about it. You know, the fact that he was in on it was fine, and then he did that on Twitter, which is perfectly fine. There's another opportunity. I don't think it had anything to do with that being a second language, English. I think he just choked up because he speaks English very well. You saw it right there. He knew how to over dramatize a situation, and he brought race into it there. And
Of course it did.
I think it was on his career part smart to do so, because then ESPN is going to be more likely to put him back in the situation. Because they pretty much said, you're not coming back out, which is insane. People were watching for that. So we're going to get into fantasy football. That's why we were doing this. But we had to talk about Sergio Dip because he was the number one story in the NFL today, which is absolutely insane.
Which is absolutely sad, but it's absolutely insane.
You had two games yesterday. You had the Minnesota Vikings and playing the New Orleans Saints. Stephon Diggs looks legit. Absolutely fantastic. He was wearing Randy Moss, special cleats where he had, Randy Moss's imagery on it. It was really cool.
Yeah, he pretty much... him going against that Saints defense basically made him look like Randy Moss, so there's that too. Yeah,
that's that too. And then the Patriots are going to be playing them too. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Evan and I will on Trifecta Sports Talk. We'll talk about that Patriots game and that matchup. But, and then you had the second game yesterday. It was Denver, and Trevor Siemian actually looked pretty good playing against San Diego Chargers, the LA Chargers. See? Sergio, it happens, buddy. It happens. I said San Diego, they're in LA now. And I didn't do that on purpose. I did that on accident. I meant to say LA. So, yeah, that game, too, that was really good. And I think the NFL games from Sunday were pretty good as well. And we'll open up our fantasy here, and we're going to go into a screen share. You'll be able to see Justin, but in terms of Evan and I, you'll hear our voices, and that's about it until we jump back in here. So opening up here, Trifecta Network, you can look at our wins and losses here. I defeated Justin by 10 points. And, Justin, you have a beef with this, right? You said that if Tom Brady didn't poop the bed, you would have won, and we had a 10-point deficit. So can you explain to me why you think that would have been the case? Because we're going to open up this matchup here, and we're going to dig into this controversy because you poked the bear on Twitter. Tom Brady had 14 points. You think he would have scored 24?
Oh,
Could have potentially for sure.
I know projections on everything, but I mean, it's 29. So
look at this matchup. Touchdowns. 10-point deficit, and he's complaining that Tom Brady didn't perform. But then you look at my side, and you see that Jordan Reed only had 6 points. Adam Vinatieri had -1 points. That's fantasy football. You have achievers every week. And if you look at your side, Christian McCaffrey underperformed for you. Julio Jones underperformed vastly for you. So I would be more, if I were you, I'd have more of a little bit of a gripe with Julio Jones, who underperformed by a projected 10 points.
Devontae Adams, who hurt me and
underperformed for you as well. So, yeah, Tom kind of underperformed for you, but you have some other issues that you had with that team. But the great thing about it was only week 1, baby. We got a full slate of games, and you look at T.J. Watt here. He had 25 fantasy points. Absolutely insane. You had Hunt go off 43 points. Will he replicate that? Do you think this week, Evan? Do you think?
No.
No.
I think he's going to get closer to
like I don't think he's going to replicate 43 either. But
I mean,
he'll get like 15 max.
You know, looking at his matchup right here in terms of what he's going to get.
Probably like 100 yards, 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
which would be a very good game.
Right. He looked legit. That's what I'll say. You know, he fumbled the football there on the first carry in the NFL. And then he came back, and they didn't go away from him, which Belichick usually goes away, and Andy Reid showed, you know what, I'm sticking with this kid. And he had an explosive game. This week they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 1-0 as well. Kansas City is 4.5-point favorites here in this game. This game is at Arrowhead. I would say that Hunt has another fantastic game. So if you have Kareem Hunt on your fantasy team, he's a safe plug at this point. He showed that he is legit. And I think you should definitely you can't sit him, obviously.
Yeah, especially at in a game at Arrowhead.
Let's talk about Mike Gillislee here. He had 1950 fantasy points in a 45-27 New England loss. New England is playing the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. The Saints defense is putrid. Their secondary is also really bad. So you're gonna have to assume that Brady's gonna attack that secondary pretty hard. I don't know what Gillislee's gonna have. For that reason, he's out for me this week. I think Mike Gillislee, you should sit him, because you really don't know with this New England team. Last week before the Thursday night game, you and I talked, and I said I feel really good about Gillislee this game. This week, exact opposite. I don't feel it, and you know it too. The way Bill Belichick runs these running backs is so unpredictable.
So what you're saying is this week might be a game to start for if you have any Patriots receivers.
Rex Burkhead, maybe.
Rex Burkhead, he's
might be playing out of the slot, according to Scott Zolak.
All right, so you can come out of the slot, or how about a guy like Chris Hogan or Brandon Cooks? So that would be a guy that you would see.
Well, if you're talking about running back, so I use Gillislee in the flex, and that's the max ceiling for him. He's not an RB2, he's not an RB1. He's a flex guy. So yeah, if you have Cooks, should be like a wideout too, I think, on the team. But like a Burkhead. If you have a Burkhead on the team, I think I'd go with Burkhead over him right now. James White over him for sure. Deion Lewis, no. Lewis is 4th in the depth chart in touches this past week. Could obviously switch, but
that's the thing with the Patriots. You never know.
You never know.
Week to week.
Talking about Jordan Reed here. Jordan Reed only had 6 points for my team. I think he's going to bounce back. He played the Philadelphia Eagles, and if we take a look at his matchup this week, he's going to be playing the Los Angeles Rams, who are 1-0. But I think that's a chance for Jordan Reed to get back on track, and Kirk Cousins don't look all that great, only scoring 17 points there. We'll move on to our complete overlook here. And if you do look at our league, you had one low-scoring game, 74-72, which is incredibly low. But everything else was kind of normal. Actually, this is kind of an overstretch. Someone scored 145 points right here. And they're in first place. Let's jump in here and take a look at this matchup right here and how they got him. So this is Jackson Kelly, writes about the Red Sox for us and a couple other sports. Looking in, Drew Brees had 19 points. Wow, so he had a lot of really good player. Bilal Powell underperformed from him, only 6 points.
He did underperform this week. That was a very bad showing from the Jets offense, which we kind of expected. But yeah,
I mean, looking at this matchup right here and what's going on here, Gold Tate had a good game. Leonard Fournette had a great game. Zach Ertz had a great game. Zach Ertz was the number 1 receiver for Philadelphia this past week. I think that'll actually change. I think they're gonna go more towards an Alshon Jeffrey starting this week. So I don't know if I'd buy in on him. Carlos Hyde's unpredictable, 29 points from Carolina. I mean, that's where your points are coming from right here. Looking on the other side of this matchup, see some underperformance. Emmanuel Sanders, 4 points. I mean, he's playing for Denver. That's a bad draft to begin with. Tyreek Hill, 25 points. It's really good. 22 points for Derek Carr, really good. Devontae Freeman underperformed. Murray underperformed. Elliott at 17 points. It's actually a solid team here for Dan Bailey here. He had 0 points out of his defensive player. That's not good. But, that's what happens. That's definitely what happened. As we recap week 1, let's head over to Evans matchup here where he lost by 2 points to Stefan, who writes about the New England Patriots for us.
Yeah, and it could actually been a lot worse for that.
His tight end didn't even play. But if you're looking at you, Jimmy Graham. So let's talk about Jimmy Graham for a little bit here. Pete Carroll has no idea still how to use Jimmy Graham.
He does not.
No idea. Why would they trade? They traded for him a couple years now, and they have no idea how to use him at all. It's really hilarious. He had 2 points, 3 receptions for 8 yards. I know Russell Wilson did try to target him in the red zone a couple times when they were down there against Green Bay. That was actually a really good football game where Green Bay ended up being victorious over the Seahawks there. But, Jimmy Graham, I mean, that's just a tough tight end in the draft. That's why I would have stayed away from him in the draft, just because Pete Carroll has no idea what he's doing.
Yes. Wish I probably should have stayed away from him in the draft, but I didn't.
J.J. Watt got injured, and their defense was pretty bad, giving up 29 points to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So he kind of...
in a game where Allen Robinson tore his ACL, which it's not in this league, screwed me in another league because I replaced him for OBJ, who definitely wasn't going to play.
Just talking about Alshon Jeffrey a couple minutes ago here, I think that you're going to see an increased targets for him in that Philadelphia offense as they work him in, going away from Zach Ertz a little bit, the tight end. You have Tevin Coleman, who's the backup running back there to Devontae Freeman for Atlanta. You have Joe Mixon, the supposed starting running back for Cincinnati. He only had 4 points for you, but we all know Cincinnati Bengals this past week gave up, 4 interceptions?
Andy Dalton had 4 interceptions and 1 fumble for a total of he's actually on my bench for my backup quarterback for negative 3.5 points, I think.
Woof. Looking at Evans' team, and if you really go up and down this lineup, he only had 2 players actually overachieve their projected fantasy points by Yahoo. Everybody else on his team underperformed by a significant margin. You can go up and down. T.Y. Hilton, 3 points. And that makes sense because who does he have thrown to him there? It was Jacoby Brissett after they benched the starting quarterback. So, that's going to be tough for you until they get Andrew Luck back. Kirk Cousins really kind of blew there for Washington, especially towards the end. He had 2 fumbles, lost both of them. So you got a really tough week here, Evan. How do you plan to bounce back here in this fantasy league with only your kicker and defense actually overachieving in week 1?
It's difficult. I got to look at the waiver wire and see what might be able to help me.
And want to know what's great? We're about to look at the waiver wire. We're about to tell you and look at the people who are available right now.
No one.
No, there is. There are some sneakers out there, guys. There's some sneakers. Don't be worried. There's always people to pick up on the waiver.
I've been looking.
He's been looking, so we're going to help out a couple people here. Talking about underperforming, though, on this team as well, on the other side of the aisle, 1 point for Brandon Marshall, and that was a very poor New York Giants team, against Dallas. They got absolutely obliterated there. Surprise is only 19-3, actually. Could have been a hell of a lot worse for that team. So this team also had a ton of underperformers, and you know what really sucks, though, for Steven?
He has David Johnson.
He was out for the year. And another thing that really stinks, if you head over to my team real quick.
And it stinks for almost everybody that drafted him with the first overall pick.
So Allen Robertson's on the IR, and I could actually make a roster move, and we'll shortly do that after. But, this is what happens. This is football. People go down with injuries, and you try to do your fantasy drafts late, but sometimes that's just what happens. So let's go over to our waiver wire, and obviously ours is going to look different than anybody else around fantasy. But we can take a look here. Let's actually see if they do. Yahoo used to do. Okay, so we're going to look at here. Transaction trends. So these are people who are available right now. So you have Javaris Allen from Baltimore, and with the injury to Danny Woodhead, he's going to be a top pickup. You have Curran Williams, who's going to be a top pickup as well. We'll go into the full list here. He's going to be a top pickup because David Johnson's down, and this is one of the guys who's potentially going to be the starting running back for the Arizona Cardinals. Oh, I can't think of it. So going in here, looking at ours, Eric Decker's out there. And this is obviously – see, the issue with our league is there's only 10 teams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce over to a 14-team league and really look at, this is what a lot of people are going to be faced with, 12 to 14-team leagues. So this is the more realistic size. So looking in here, Julius Thomas is available, 47% owned in leagues. Would not pick him up. Jay Cutler's throwing to him. Stay away from Julius Thomas if he's out there. Cameron Brate is the starting tight end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a guy, if you need a tight end, I'd look at. Detroit wideout, Kenny Golladay. 21% owned in Yahoo leagues, 18 points in week 1. The thing with that Detroit team is they really do need wide receiving depth. They have a good quarterback in Matt Stafford.
Yes.
Golden Tate's their number 1 receiver. So flip that on the other side. This is a guy I'd potentially pick up and should be picked up in all fantasy leagues to see what he kind of does. Chris Carson's the backup to Eddie Lacy in Seattle. Only had 4 fantasy points in the first week, but if you have Eddie Lacy, you should pick him up. Tyreek Cohen, 1730 was his points. He, I believe it was like 50-50 with Jordan Howard of the Chicago Bears. So this is the guy that you should definitely pick up if you have Jordan Howard, because this is an interesting guy to watch. Kendall Wright, Chicago now, would not pick him up. Looking up and down this list, not a ton here. Chandrick West, if he's out there, you should pick him up just because, especially you, Justin, if he's out there in our league, you should pick him up because he's going to be the backup to Hunt. And he was a starter last year for a portion as well. And has been starting. Kaiser for Cleveland had 19 fantasy points as the QB. Interesting move there, but this is the guy right here. This is the guy I talked about. Williams is projected to get a good workload, the majority of workload with David Johnson out. So this is going to be an interesting thing for them to do. This guy could go off. Really could. This is a guy I'd kind of focus in on. Let's bring it back to center here. Let's end the screenshot. Hey, Justin, you can see our faces again.
Hey.
Hi.
And talking about fantasy football, people always get into this rut where they lose week 1 and they kind of want to pack it in already. Way too early to pack it in. For you two that lost, you got to stay motivated to stay in it. And there's a lot of people on the waiver wire, and injuries hurt. They're punched to the nuts, but you can persevere.
That was a bad showing by my team last week.
Yeah, but you a lot of underperformers. And if you look around offensively in the NFL this past week, you've seen a lot of offenses just not click properly. You saw that with the New England Patriots. If you're a Patriots fan, you saw that with a lot of teams. If you're Drew Brees in the New Orleans Saints, yeah, you saw this failure to really click. Seattle had the same issue. Go up and down the list. Outside of Matt Stafford, there was a lot of underperformers in the NFL this week, and that's partially why I think a lot of the fantasy numbers were low. That's why there was a lot of underperformers, and in reality, you don't know what the depth charts really look at until the play starts to happen. So you kind of get a good feel of what running backs are getting for touches. If you have Marshawn Lynch on your fantasy team, you might look at it and be like, not a really great showing from Marshawn, but I look at it and I say, he got a lot of fourth quarter touches there at the end of that game. They iced the game with Marshawn Lynch, and he was able to effectively do that. And that shows me that he still has it in the tank. He still is Marshawn Lynch, and I think he's going to be very effective this season. He's just on the goal line. That's where you want to start to see him getting some touches in. Get on the goal line, but Marshawn Lynch is a guy I definitely hold on to, and will probably be. He's an RB2 that has upside to be an RB1. Adrian Peterson. We could talk about him a little bit too. The former future Hall of Famer. Former, because I don't think he'll be in the Hall of Fame now. Legendary for years. Hall of Fame years. He got injured and some other issues popped up, and he signed with the Saints. What did he think that was going to happen?
I mean,
did he think
Mark Ingram was going to be ahead of him? You should have realized that.
And then there's this guy called Kamara, I think, on their roster. And I was like, oh, Kai Kamara of the New England Revolution? What's he doing there? No, it's like some other guy. But what did you think was going to happen? New Orleans is notorious for that. Talk to Deion Lewis. They don't give the running backs consistent carries week to week. They're a pass-first offense. They always will be. Even with Brandon Cooks no longer being there, even with Snide being suspended, they will continue to pass that ball on offense. And he was pissed. You saw him behind his head coach there, Sean Payton. facing the sideline. If you have Adrian Peterson on your fantasy team, I feel bad for you because you probably drafted him way too early.
Yeah, you probably did.
And do you cut him? No, but don't start him. Do not start Adrian Peterson unless some kind of injury happens to Ingram, and even then, it's like the Patriots. You shouldn't start the running backs unless you have a really good feeling about the particular matchup. And that's what we're going to end off here today. We're going to go into the matchups and kind of give our predictions for games here. Because we can do that for sure. You know, I look at the Patriots game, and we'll get into that tomorrow, you and I, Evan. But for the other games here going on in the NFL in week 2, you do have some pretty good matchups. So your Thursday night game this week, you have the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Houston Texans. Both teams absolutely blew in week 1. And when I say blew, they were bad. And that's going to be a very bad matchup. Cleveland is 6.5 points favorites here.
Cincinnati.
Oh, sorry, Cincinnati. Well, guess what? They're also in Ohio. So they're the Cleveland Bengals because that's how bad they suck. They're bad as the Browns, baby. Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton's that quarterback that every year you think he's going to take that next step, but he never does. He's like Ryan Tannehill. He's never going to make that. The red rifle ain't never going to stay the red rifle. He's always going to be the red BB gun. You're not going to be able to. JJ Watt. You're not. He's never going to make that next step, and it's the only reason why I said that is because it should have happened by now. But both offenses were just plain bad.
So Deshaun Watson's going to be the starting quarterback for Thursday.
That was officially announced today?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson's going to be the start. So you have that to look forward to. You know, he'd look way better than Savage. And has a lot of potential. So there's upside there. You know, they still have DeAndre Hopkins. Lamar Miller is their running back. And if you look at that offense for Houston, it's not going to be great, but their defense should be, in theory. Looking at the other side, Cincinnati. This is a team going into the later last year, that later half, where you looked at Cincinnati and were like, this team's legit. You know, they have guys like A.J. Green and Joe Mixon's their running back. They still have Giovanni Bernard as well. And Andy Dalton is not a great quarterback, but he's right there. He's average, a little bit above average.
He should be, yeah. That's exactly what he should be from week to week.
This Thursday night game, they're both on shortened weeks, so it could be very bad because they might not have to. But it might be so bad that it's good.
Yes, it's going to be a lot like that 6-6 tie between the Seahawks and the Cardinals last year in overtime.
All right, predictions: Cincinnati or Houston?
I gotta go with Houston.
Okay, on the road. Evan. Justin. Houston. I'm gonna go Cincinnati and going with the Red Rifle. I just think that Andy Dalton should be able to win against Deshaun Watson, a rookie quarterback. In theory. Arizona, Indianapolis. Got to go Arizona here. I don't like that team. I don't like the fact that Johnson's injured. I don't like Carson Palmer. But that Indy team is bad without Andrew Luck. And the fact that Jacoby Brissett's going to be your starting quarterback in week 2 potentially, and he doesn't really know the offense at all, this should be a landslide victory for Arizona.
Yeah, I would say so too. Even though Jacoby Brissett was more effective on Sunday for the Indianapolis Colts, you're still going to go with Arizona.
All right, moving on. Justin, Arizona?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Moving on here. So you have the Eagles traveling to Arrowhead. The Chiefs are only 4.5-point favorites here, which actually is kind of surprising. I think Carson Wentz is going to have a good season in his sophomore year. I like Philadelphia, but I think Kansas City is also really good. Way better than people give him credit for. But that injury to Eric Berry is going to kill this team.
It is.
And I actually think that Carson Wentz tears up that defense. I absolutely think he tears it up. In Arrowhead, though, so I think the Chiefs win.
Just the fact that if that game was in Philly,
yeah, exactly.
If that game was in Philly, I'd go with Philly, but it's in Kansas City. I got to go with the Chiefs.
Right. Justin, what's your thoughts on that matchup?
I think Philly's going to win.
Okay.
That Berry injury, I think, is going to hurt him a lot more than
Wish
people
we had a sounder here. I would hit the sounder. Moving on. New England against the Saints. I got to go New England. I'm not going to give any kind of background into this game at all, and you shouldn't either, Evan, because we will talk about this on Trifecta Sports Talk live tomorrow on Facebook, facebook.com/Trifecta Sports Network. I'm picking the Patriots.
I got to pick New England. Bet the over.
Justin, you can give whatever detailed depth you want on this one.
I gotta go with that also.
Okay, Patriots.
Brady usually has a record getting after kind of a big blowout loss.
Hey, no days off except I've had 2 days off this week. Just saying.
Out firing. You got like 9 touchdowns.
I hope I see that. I hope I see touchdowns. Moving on, Minnesota Pittsburgh. Here we go. This is a matchup.
There we go.
Sam Bradford, I still don't buy on him, but Stephon Diggs is legit. That receiving core is legit for Minnesota. Running back situation's okay. Their defense is good. Pittsburgh, that big, fat, bloated Ben Roethlisberger, that team, I think they're going to be fine this year. They're still going to win like 10 football games, at least. But they're going to be a Super Bowl team. So I look at this matchup, and I actually think Minnesota goes in as 7-point underdogs and pulls out the win in Pittsburgh.
I got to go with the home team in this. I got to go with Pittsburgh.
Okay. I don't think their defense is as good as it looked like this past week, though. So that's where my head's at. Justin.
I'm thinking Minnesota.
All right, yeah.
I think it's Minnesota's year.
Picking over here, Tampa Bay obviously did not play in week 1 of the NFL season due to Hurricane Irma that ravaged Florida. So this is their first week of the NFL season. They're 7.5-point favorites against the Chicago Bears. Chicago actually had an opportunity to win their football game this past week where it came down to, was it McCown?
Yeah, he was sacked on 4th down.
And he threw, but he had like 2 balls. One was Howard. I forgot who the other one was. Was it Kevin White? Where he threw basically in the end zone, was in the receiver's hands, and they just couldn't hold on to it. So that was a game where they almost won for Chicago. But I got to go with my boy Jameis Winston down there in Tampa Bay with Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson there now. With Doug Martin at the running back, I think Tampa Bay wins this one here.
I got to go with Tampa Bay too. That offense is just stacked, and face it, Jameis Winston's a better quarterback.
He is, but I do think Chicago is going to be better than people give him credit for. They very could have easily won that week 1 matchup.
They could have against the Atlanta Falcons as well.
Right, exactly. Atlanta almost puked that one out, like they're prone to do. Justin, what are you feeling about Tampa Bay and Chicago?
I'm going Tampa Bay. Just
okay.
I think they're gonna, and it's an awful thing with the hurricane and everything, but I think sometimes that helps the teams. It gives them something to want to win something. Bring some joy to the city.
Don't tell Houston that. They got torched.
No kidding. Now, obviously, you got to look at the fact.
Man.
Now, the Red Sox, I know it's the Red Sox, but they're running into a problem where they might not be able to play their game on Friday in Tampa.
Right.
There might be
pushing it back to
yeah, there's something might happen where they might not even be get to play that game this weekend in Tampa if the city's not right yet.
They haven't approved anything going on with that series yet. That's going to come. They think we can talk about this tomorrow on Trifecta Sports Talk. Evan and I will get into the nitty gritty of that situation and what's going on with Fort Myers and Tampa Bay and that entire area in regards to the Red Sox, because that's a storyline for them. But we'll see what happens. Maybe it motivates Tampa Bay, but I think even without that motivation, they're still going to pull out the victory there. Buffalo, Carolina. I mean, Buffalo is the AFC East leader here through week 1 of the season, beating the great New York Jets, who aren't trying to absolutely tank this season. They're playing the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. Carolina's 8.5-point favorites for this football game. And if you're a fantasy owner that has anybody on that Carolina offense, pick them up and go. This is going to be a blowout, I believe. I think Buffalo blows.
They're bad. They are bad.
Granted, interesting. Sorry to cut you off. Tyrod Taylor last season. What do you think his QBR ranking was in the NFL?
15?
Like 3rd.
Was it really?
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor is actually a very good quarterback in the NFL. Outside of him, that team blows. They have nobody. They traded away Sammy Watkins. pockets.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Patriots fan and you thought the world was crashing around you last Thursday night, after Sunday's games, especially that Buffalo Jets game, you must feel a hell of a lot better about about the situation. I think Carolina, like you, Tanner. I think Carolina is able to blow them.
We'll get to Miami in a little bit because I do have a thought on them. But I pick Carolina. You pick Carolina. Justin, thoughts on this?
Carolina, just like you said. Buffalo's got no offensive threats. They got the quarterback, but that's about it.
Moving on to this next matchup here. It's been I think it's like a rivalry here, this little matchup. Jacksonville, Tennessee. I feel like it's like a middle-of-the-road team rivalry. Blake Bortles somehow didn't get in the way of his team winning this past week.
Somehow.
Leonard Fournette looks legit. Looks like the real deal and could be able to carry that offense. Allen Robinson is down and potentially out for the year. Tennessee, I like Marcus Mariota. They lost their week 1 matchup. Tennessee is actually favored to go in and win this here, which makes sense. I don't think Mariota has a ton of talent around him on offense. He has DeMarco Murray at the running back position, but in terms of receiving cores, I don't think it's that good. I think Bortles has one in his pocket. I think he has the ability to win a football game. He hasn't really shown it, but he has that talent in there. So I actually think that he comes out and has a fantastic game, and I'm picking the Jacksonville Jaguars at home despite the fact that they're underdogs at home. They haven't won. They somehow won.
I mean, saying that it's only Tennessee's only 1-point favorites, but
but they're coming in as 1-point favorites. That's bigger. That's huge.
Yeah. So I mean, I still like the Tennessee offense more, so I am going to go with Tennessee. But like Tampa Bay, I read somewhere today that they might be having problems playing that game down in Jacksonville as well.
Right. So it's another issue. These are 2 1:00 games here. You could potentially see these game times moved, I think, depending on conditions and stuff like that. But I got to go Jacksonville here. I got to go with Blake Bortles. He hasn't given me anything to actually go on him, but I got a feeling about him. Just.
Even though I forget that Tennessee has a football team every year, I'm going to pick them.
Okay. I like Marcus Mariota a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I do.
He'd be fantastic. I like Jameis Winston a lot. I think they're 2 young quarterbacks who came in together.
Yeah, especially I mean, I have Tennessee winning the AFC South.
They're going to be a good football team.
I find it hard to imagine they're going to start 0-2.
Yeah, me too, actually. But I'm still picking Jacksonville. Going on here, we get Cleveland and Baltimore. 9-point favorites for Baltimore against the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland, of course, is 0-1 on the season. Not much of a shocker there. Isaiah Corral is their running back. I think Coleman was their number 1 wideout this past week. He's on my bench. It's Baltimore to me. It's not even close.
I was trying to come up with a way that...
I mean, their running back situation in Baltimore is kind of tough right now. Danny Woodhead's out, so they're trying to figure that out. But they have Joe Flacco. He's not a great quarterback, but he's won a Super Bowl, and they can't lose to Cleveland.
I mean, I'm trying to come up with like a way. I'm trying to come up with a way that Cleveland ends up winning this game. I can't. I gotta go with Baltimore.
I can't. Yeah, Justin.
We're going Cleveland. I don't like Baltimore. I'll never root for them.
Okay, so why is Cleveland going to win? How do they win this football game? You explain it. You can give your take.
I honestly have no idea. I don't know who the quarterback down there is. So.
Okay.
I just don't know.
It's Kaiser, right? Kaiser's their quarterback. He had 19 fantasy points in week 1.
Oh.
He's not. He might be legit, but who knows? They don't have any weapons, so we'll see with Cleveland. But Justin's picking him, so he has faith.
I'll take.
He has faith. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, you're right. Moving on here, talking about the New York Football Jets, not the New York Giants. The New York Football Jets. They play football in New York as well. Both New York teams blew this past week, and the New York Jets will continue to blow for the entire season. They're playing the Oakland Raiders, and they are 15 point.
Oh.
15-point underdog. That is more than 2 touchdowns. That is an absolute incredible line to actually read. Looking looking a couple games down here, I see another really big one. It's Oakland. It's Oakland. Not even. It's. I actually have it in my head. I'm like, there's no way they're gonna go into Oakland and beat the Raiders on the road.
I'm gonna go with the Jets for one reason.
Powell has like a fantastic game.
No, I'm picking the Jets because if in the slightest chance that the Jets go into Oakland and win, I can say yes, I picked the Jets to win, and that's the only reason why I'm picking the Jets.
Josh McCown. I mean, dude, there's no way. I mean, they traded for Jermaine Kearse. I like him as a wideout. Forte can be fine in the receiving game. Powell just blew last week. I mean,
that team is so bad.
It's
so bad.
It's such a bad team. Like it's like even the Bears. Like so, if you look at the Chicago Bears roster, they're just such a better team. Like, oh, Glennon's a quarterback. I thought it was McCown for some reason. But like if you look at, Forte left the Bears for New York, and the Jets have a worse team now. Oh man, that's so bad. I'm just jumping all over the place here. Can they win? I don't think so. They're gonna go into Oakland. How would Oakland win?
How would
Oakland? Win? Yeah, how would the Jets win here? They can't. I don't envision.
Jermaine Kearse goes off. Bilal Powell is able to destroy that front seven for the Oakland Raiders.
McCown would have to look like
McCown would have to look like Brady pretty much,
except Brady from week 1, because then they'd probably lose.
I think,
Justin, you picking the upset here, or are you gonna go with the Raiders?
No, I'm going with the Raiders.
It's such a trash game.
Jets are terrible.
There's some really bad games on this, but that always happens every week. Miami, LA. Miami's obviously playing their first game. And they'll be traveling to LA. So this game will get played at a stadium with probably the amount of 25% full, maybe 30% full. It's just
it'll be full stadium.
No.
I have like 25,000 people there, but it'll be full stadium.
Yeah, they'll say it's full. The Chargers, I actually think they'll be fine this year. Phillip Rivers is still the quarterback there somehow.
Well, the problem with that happened last year was they had their Danny Woodhead and Keenan Allen go down by like week
Allen's healthy this year.
Yeah, by week 1 and like midway through week 2.
Almost came back and won against the Denver Broncos on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
So they have that running for them.
Yeah.
Miami, I feel like people are down on Miami. If Tannehill was there, would they have been any better than they are with Jay Cutler? I actually don't think so. I think Jay Cutler is actually a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill. I think he cares less, but I also think that Tannehill didn't give a shit either. I think Miami's right there. There's a reason why Adam Gase went and wanted an actual starting quarterback. You can argue on how good Cutler is or can be, but they believe that they were right there. Not with the Patriots, but in terms of a wild card team. So this Miami team last year was right there too. They were a wild card team, and that's what they were with Tannehill.
Yeah.
So with Cutler, you look at their offense. Ajayi is still there. Jarvis Landry is a good receiver. They have a good team. Will Cutler be able to just be serviceable for them? Will he be a game manager for them? Because that's still a wild card team to me. So them going into LA, I can envision Miami actually beating the Chargers. And I actually picked Miami here because I actually think people are so down on Cutler that he's going to just somehow go off because he has a tendency to do that. He can do it.
I'm actually going to go with the Chargers here. And saying that, I think Miami covers. I think the Chargers squeak it out on a late field goal.
Right.
I have the Chargers winning 24-21.
Okay. We got a game score there. So we'll rewind the tape next week and see if you're right. Justin, who are you picking out of this matchup?
I'm picking Miami. I think Cutler's, like you say, is going to be the game manager. They got Parker, Landry, two big weapons.
Right.
They're always, like you said, they're a wild card team. They're usually right around that bubble area.
Yeah, I don't think they take a
They're
step.
missing one little piece.
I don't think they take a step backwards either. I think they'll be right there.
Yeah.
I think they're going to need to upgrade their long-term QB. It's not Tannehill. He's not the answer. So they're going to need to somehow figure that situation out. And it's tough to do when you're still a wild card team because you can't really get into that top 3 pick range where you can actually draft a really good quarterback. Moving on here, talking about probably one of the marquee matchups in the NFL this week. The Dallas Cowboys will be traveling to Mile High and play the Denver Broncos. And you would think Denver would be favored in this game. Trevor Siemian had a good show on Monday Night Football. He showed that he's a legitimate quarterback. Brock Osweiler might actually be the starting quarterback in a couple weeks like I was thinking. And that defense is still good. Not as good as they were in the past, but they're still legit. They have some legit wideouts there as well. A decent running back in C.J. Anderson. Broncos, they're 0. It's dead even in terms of the odds right here for this Dallas Cowboys team going in. I think Denver wins. You're going to go in the Mile High for the Dallas Cowboys and knock them off? I just don't see it happening. I think Ezekiel Elliott's going to play. Dak Prescott, I like him. But I still think they have questions at the receiving core position. I just don't see them beating Denver at Mile High. I don't see Dallas doing it. If they do, that'd be a marquee win for them.
The way you're sounding, you're not seeing Dallas as being like that top.
They are. They're a top tier team in the NFL. If Ezekiel Elliott is playing and is not suspended, they're a top tier team in the NFL. Are they a championship caliber team? No, but I also don't think Denver's that bad. They're not top tier, but they're right there.
I think Dallas ends up going in there to win. I don't think it's a blowout. I think it's a close game.
It's going to have to be, yeah.
I think it's going to end up being a close game just because it is at Mile High. If that game was even at a neutral site, I would say Dallas is able to blow them out.
Oh, for sure. I think so, too. I think it's the Mile High element that gives Denver the edge here.
It does.
Other than that, they're getting smoked. I just don't see Elliott going off for 100-plus yards, and he's going to be out of breath. It's Mile High. It has that effect on people. So we'll see what happens with that game. Justin, Denver or Dallas?
Dallas.
Okay. I mean, it's an even matchup. This is going to be the fact that it's a 425 game it's a damn shame, actually, because that's a marquee game to have, and it actually should have been into that Monday night slot over that Detroit, New York trash bag that you're going to be seeing.
I might be so bad it'll be good.
Right. We can get to that game in a little bit here, but I think the fact that this is a 425 game, that's a shame because that's a really good game. It'll be
looking at the slate of games. It'll probably be the marquee game on Fox on Sunday. So
right, they do have San Francisco. Yeah, it will be for around here. You'll probably be able to see that game. No questions asked. Because the other games for Fox, you have the Washington Redskins and the LA Rams. Ugh. I mean, Goff actually looked okay in week 1, and I think Goff long term is going to be really good for LA. Kirk Cousins didn't look great this past week for Washington. The LA's 2.5-point favorites. They're at home here. I don't really know how I feel with this one. Kirk Cousins can get into a firefight. Will the Rams actually be 2-0 to start the season? Can they do that? I don't know. I think I actually have Washington coming in and winning this game.
There's one storyline you're not thinking of. Sean McVay is facing his old team at home in week 2.
Right.
He knows that he knows that offense. He knows that team. I see the LA winning it.
I don't know. If it's a close game at the end, I mean, Kirk Cousins has that ability to go down the field, and I think he has more talented weapons to deal. I mean, Todd Gurley's a really good running back. They have some solid options at the receiving core as well. I just think Washington goes in and wins in somewhat of a firefight. Game to the end and comes down to that last possession. So you're picking LA?
I am picking LA.
I'm picking Washington, and Justin's picking
LA.
Okay. Moving on here, the other 4 o'clock matchup for Fox is the Seattle Seahawks, who are playing at home with a 14-point favorite here. They're a 14-point favorite against San Francisco, and San Francisco is a joke of a team. They have nobody. They have nothing. I'm shocked they still have a football team at this point. with how bad it's gotten over the last couple of years. Their starting quarterback blows. The running backs blow. The receiving core blows. The defense blows. The coaching blows. Everything blows for the 49ers. And they will get absolutely torched here by a Seahawks offense that doesn't really know how to score points. So that's going to be a trash game to watch. The Seahawks are going to win like 21-3. And it's going to be just like this most boring game in the world because Russ Wilson's such an overrated quarterback.
Do you happen to know what the over is for on points for that game?
Let us click in here and let's see if Yahoo is actually smart enough to give us an over. I can't imagine it's a high over whatsoever. There's our boy Brian Hoyer. I did not see an over, but I will get an over right here if you want to kind of give your thoughts heading into this game.
I like you said, it is a bad offense in San Francisco. I can't imagine to see what the
whole team is bad.
Yeah, I can't imagine they're able to score many points. I think it's San Francisco 3.
Oh, whoa, wow. 42.5 points is the over.
I say San Francisco 3.
That's high for that.
Seattle really 42.
You think Seattle's going to 42 points?
I think it's a blowout.
Dude, that Seattle offense is not that good.
I
you
think
saw this
that little of San Francisco. I think Seattle blows them out.
Yeah, I mean, they're at home. I'm picking Seattle, obviously, but
Seattle's 14-point
favorites. Justin, Seattle or San Francisco 49ers? Tom Brady's
I'm picking Seattle, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
You think? Wow, you think it's going to be close?
I wouldn't say close, but I mean, it's
more.
not going to be like, 90-0, or like Evan was saying, 42-3.
Yeah.
And I don't think Seattle's going to be able to score that many points. Maybe it's like
no, they won't. Exactly.
Maybe it's like 27-6, which is almost a blowout, but it's not as bad as 42-3.
Yeah. Moving on here, talking about Sunday. We're talking about Sunday Night Football. The Green Bay Packers are playing the Atlanta. I lost after leading 28-3 Falcons. The Chick-fil-A in the stadium will not be open because it is a Sunday, unfortunately. I didn't know the NFL played on Sundays, said the stadium builder. But talking about that game, that should, in theory, be a good game for the NFL. Looking at the favoritism, 2.5-point favorites at home for Atlanta. Quinn and that team, they're choke artists, man. Green Bay wins.
I gotta go with Green Bay too.
A-Rod goes in and just
the
receiving core is too good. The offense is too good.
I think Green Bay has a legitimate chance of winning the NFC.
They have the best quarterback in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers. They have Jordy Nelson, great wideout. Devontae Adams. Sorry, they have Martellus Bennett, the best tight end that the New England Patriots ever had in the last 5 years. They have Montgomery at running back, who we'll see what happens with him. Still have an okay defense, and they beat Seattle. They have two.
Up that stadium, yeah. I think they opened up that stadium by
taking an L.
Right
next to the I lost the 28-3 banner.
Super Bowl 51 runner-ups.
Oh no, finalists. They talked to the Indianapolis, and they're like,
finalists.
Yeah, Indianapolis already put up a banner that says we traded for Jacoby Brissett, who had the best preseason game of all time.
Yeah, I gotta go with Green Bay here.
Yeah, it's like I just don't see Atlanta ever being relevant after losing the Super Bowl. That was like a one-hit wonder for me. You have to win there, or you're done.
I think Atlanta's lucky to go 9-7 this year.
Carolina's the same thing. After they lost that Super Bowl, after Cam Newton just didn't grab a football, after he that situation, after that occurred in that Super Bowl, Carolina was done. Now I look at Atlanta, they're done as well. That's so much to get over. That monkey on your shoulder. I mean, I didn't think the Patriots were ever going to get that off their shoulder either. Super Bowls of the Giants. But they did, so anything's possible, right? Justin, Green Bay going into Atlanta?
I'm going to say Green Bay, but it's going to be a close game.
Okay. Yeah, it could be, right? I mean, Atlanta is good offensively. They have Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman. Hooper, the tight end, had like a 50-yard. He's like the slowest tight end in football, and he had like a 50-yard touchdown this past weekend. You see that?
Yes.
That's insane. Like it was like you or me running down the field. That's how slow he was going. It was great. Justin, you see that?
Slow.
You see?
No, I didn't.
Look it up after this. It was Hooper. He was running down the field. It was so slow. It was like the longest touchdown I've ever seen, and not for distance, but for time. I'm like, look at this play. This guy's still running. Did no one like catch up? I don't know, man. Going on here. New York is your Monday Night Football matchup. The New York Giants got torched by the Dallas Cowboys team. Detroit, Stafford threw for 4 touchdowns this past week. Looked really good. New York is 3.5-point favorites at home. Thoughts on the matchup, Evan?
It looks like the Giants will probably have OBJ back for that game. Considering that the Dallas defense is a hell of a lot better than the Detroit Lions defense,
right.
I got to go with the Giants, but I think Detroit has a chance to cover in this game.
I kind of look at that week 1 game for New York, and I think a lot of people want to point to Odell wasn't there, but that doesn't really count for everything. You still had Sterling Shepard. You still had a pretty good running back group. You still had Brandon Marshall, who you're trying to integrate into that offense. So Eli still had weapons there. He just wasn't able to get it done. And Odell didn't play, so that might have been a factor. But wouldn't you like to see Detroit go in there and kind of smack New York right off the top here?
Oh, I think there's a legitimate chance they do, just because I think Matthew Stafford's that good. I just don't see. I just think the Giants are probably going to come out with a close win, just because I don't see the Giants. 0-2.
You don't think you're going to start to decline there? I mean, their wide out group is so talented, though. Legit team.
They are.
Will Eli be able to help them win football games? Because he's a 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, especially when it comes to – he's the leading Super Bowl winner when it comes to helmet catches as well, in terms of a quarterback. It's really not a great quarterback, Eli Manning. Very overrated.
He is a very overrated quarterback.
Yeah, like people like pump his tires so much. Is like he barely won 2 Super Bowls. I mean, still 2-time Super Bowl winner. Can't take that away.
2-time BS Super Bowl winner.
Yeah, I mean, look, stuff happens. Edelman caught a football that was like on the ground, and the Patriots pumped some football, and Belichick had his Apple Watch to steal signs from of team. So cheating happens in football, and having stick them on your helmet is also a way to cheat. So as you can tell, I'm pretty tired. I think everyone's tired here. Evan's tired as well. You tired, Evan?
I am tired.
So we're going to drop out and kind of do our sign-off here, which I guess, how long has it already been on that?
An hour.
Oh, wow.
45, maybe.
Oh, no, the screen share. When did the screen share stop?
Oh. I don't know.
Justin, you're the one that looks
looking at us. So we couldn't even.
we were on the we were on the matchups.
So everybody.
That was probably 25 minutes, half hour.
Yeah, so when you watch this, that was supposed to be on a screen share, and you were supposed to be able to see the matchups as I'm reading them off.
I saw them.
Look, you saw the matchups.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, great. So I don't know. Oh, because I closed the. Okay. Yeah. I closed the window and then jump back. So this just completely derailed here. Trifecta Sports Talk will be live on Facebook. You're going to be seeing this, and it is a Tuesday night.
Yes.
Tuesday night, September 12th. On September 13th, on Wednesday afternoon, around 1 o'clock, Evan and I will be live on Facebook. You can go to facebook.com/Trifecta Sports Network, and you will get us. We'll talk about the Boston Red Sox, talk about what's going on with them, what a playoff for them, their series with Tampa and how that might play out. Talk about the Patriots Week 2 matchup with the New Orleans Saints. Probably talk about some other stuff as well that's going on. And then Justin and I will have the 7th Floor show. It'll just be Justin and myself for this episode. They'll be recorded on Wednesday night, and it'll be released on Thursday morning. So tons of video content, but latest in Boston sports, head over to trifectanetwork.com. where we have articles published daily, multiple times a day, by a full-fledged writing team that's dedicated to bringing you the latest in Boston sports. Thank you for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and for fantasy questions, you put them in the comment section below, and we will answer them on next week's show. Fantasy this week, and we wish you the best as we're trying to win our own matchups.